I'd like to call this session of Constitution Campaigns and Elections, call us to order today, the committee to order, and we do have a quorum. I'm going to ask Representative Adeline Clark if she would to give us a prayer today and start us off with a prayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will you bow your heads and please pray with me? Dear Lord, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for giving us the privilege of waking up again today to serve you and to serve your people. We ask that you grant us wisdom to vote the way that you would have us vote on the bills that we will be considering this morning in this committee. We ask that you bless our families. We ask that you bless our military, our president, our state. We ask all things in your name, dear Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Representative Clark. As we get started this morning, we've got House Bill 63 is the first on our agenda. Representative Wood from Chambers County. This bill has been discussed somewhat and has been through the subcommittee on elections and campaigns. And I have neglected to call roll. I know they've got the roll behind me, but we'll go ahead and do that. If you don't mind, we'll pause there.
Mr. Fincher? Here. Mr. Allen? Here. Ms. Cavan? Ms. Clark?
Here.
Harpson? Mr. Hassel? Here. Mr. Mooney? Here. Mr. Pascal?
Here.
Pringle? Mr. Sandiford? Mr. Simpson? Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Representative Wood, on House Bill 63, do you have anything you would like to say? Or?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And it did come out of the subcommittee with a favorable vote. You have some information that Clerk Nettles has placed with you on House Bill 63 that just explains it a little bit more to answer any questions that you may have. I see that Representative Mooney has his hand up, so I will.
Favorable report.
Okay. We have a move to give the bill a favorable report, and we have a second by Representative Allen. Is there any discussion before we go ahead and take a vote? Representative Clark.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning again, Representative Wood.
Good morning.
Like some others here, I've had an opportunity to talk to Secretary of State Merrill just briefly about this bill, and he said that it targets groups that do mass mailings, and I think the handout that you spoke about, Representative Wood, states that as well. I haven't had a chance to read it in its entirety, but I did see that much on the handout. You know, it seems to me that what the Secretary of State's office should be doing is warning voters to be careful when they receive applications in the mail, because I think Mr. Helm said at our last meeting, in fact, that these pre-filled applications that are being mass mailed into communities aren't even our applications, that they're phony. And so I think that's what we need to be warning voters about. I just feel strongly that this bill is going to have unintended consequences. I think it's going to cause the good to suffer with the bad actors, and the good being our family, our neighbors, our church members, those community organizations that are out there helping to assist the elderly and the disabled with exercising their voting rights. So I am just adamantly opposed to this bill.
Thank you for your comments, Representative Clark, but I will say that the bill specifically states that you can have assistance filling those items out, but it's permission, it's giving permission. So the warning here is going out to the individuals that are doing something wrong. That's what the warning is for. You know, don't send out mass mailings with information pre-filled out. But if someone comes to your church and they need assistance, the bill addresses that. You can get assistance.
I think that's not exactly what the bill states. I think, and my concern is, and I've given this example before, if you call my disabled brother and said, was this application pre-filled before you got it and signed it, he's going to say yes. And if you ask him, did you give your big sister, your favorite sister, permission to fill that application out for you to pre-fill it, he's going to say, well, no, not exactly. Then I'm facing a Class C felony. Now, that may not be his intent to send me to jail, but I might be on my way.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other comments before we vote? Yes, Mr. Hassel, Representative Hassel.
I totally agree with Representative Clark. The thing about this bill, it'll create so much confusion with people who want to help, and I don't understand. I don't understand actually why you want to do this bill. You know, it's just going to create confusion. It could stop people from helping people to do or encourage people to absentee ballot because of the fact that if you got an elderly person, like she said about her brother, he would say, you know what, I don't want to get you involved. I want to get you in no trouble. You know, because you know a lot of people are not going to read this, but then you have somebody who trying to just prevent people from voting, going to use this particular law to prevent people to get involved in this voting process and absentee ballot. Because I said the system works. I know I've worked with absentee before, and we have counted hundreds of absentee ballots, and a lot of them get disqualified because when we come back to the results, and you get 25 people already, the system works already. But now this is setting us a precedent of fear that are going to get people involved into this process. And I totally agree with Representative Clark on this. I still think this is an overreach, and I think that you're going to create a lot of chaos involving absentee ballots.
Well, I feel very differently. I think that the bill is to ensure that voter registration forms and absentee ballot applications are filled out by the voter themselves. That is the whole premise of the bill.
If you have some of these people, some citizens need help. So what I'm afraid of, if you get a lot of people that need help and some people that's trying to help these elderly people or handicapped people to get involved in this in absentee ballots, it's just that now they would be afraid to even do that, you know, because some people just can't fill out themselves. They can't.
And the bill says that you can get assistance. You
Okay,
can
but
ask for assistance,
who's
but the absentee ballot should not come to you or the voter registration pre-filled out. The only thing that should be on there is the return address. That's it. They can still get help.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. If there are no further comments, I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
Nay.
The ayes have it, and the bill is given a favorable report. Representative Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all members for your hard work.
Thank you. All right, we have next on our agenda, we have House Bill 131 by Representative Andrew Sorrell. Andrew, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, House Bill 131 is designed to save taxpayer money. Right now, before every general election, the judge of probate in each county is required to publish a list of all the registered voters. I have here a copy of the Colbert County Reporter from 2 years ago, the last time that we had to publish. And within it, you will see this much of the paper is just a gigantic list of names. We paid $10,000 to publish this list of names that nobody read in the Colbert County Reporter. I have a better idea for how we can handle this. Put it on the Secretary of State's website for free. My understanding is that nobody sits there to check if they're registered to vote by reading a gigantic list of names in a newspaper. If you're confused about whether or not you're registered, you're going to call your probate judge, your board of registrar, Secretary of State. You're going to check there. If you do the math, my county's 55,000 population. It cost us $10,000. I've talked with other members. They know in their county it costs them $14,000, $15,000. In the larger counties, this could cost $50,000 to $100,000 to publish. We could save all that money by simply putting it on the Secretary of State's website. And I have spoken with the Secretary of State and his staff, and he has assured me that his intention is to provide this service free of charge. So that's what this bill is about. Now, you may have a question, okay, what if there is not access to broadband internet in my county? What if, I live in a really rural county? Well, I thought of that. So I put in here an opt-out provision. Any county commission by majority vote can simply opt their county out of this system. 20 years later, if everyone in the county has broadband internet, they could opt back in. So I tried to be as flexible as I can with this bill. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy to take any questions.
All right. And we're to that point. Do any of the committee members wish to ask the sponsor any questions or make any comments? I saw your hand first, Representative Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Representative.
Good morning.
Terrell. I must be one of those nobodies because I read that list. I look at it and I look to make sure all my children are on it. My nieces, nephews, my godchildren, elderly relatives in my family. I know people who actually sit and read that list. And so I just want to correct you. We have to be very careful when we say nobody and everybody because those tend to be
Understood.
exaggerations. There's going to be at least one person who's going to be an exception to almost any rule.
You are absolutely correct about that. I will say it would be much more convenient for the majority of Alabamians if that list was published online. It'd be searchable by county. It would be archived so you could see, 10 years ago who was on there. It would just be a much better system all the way around.
Representative Hassel.
We pay taxes for services, right?
I'm sorry?
We pay taxes for services.
We pay taxes for services?
services.
Yes.
This is a service you want to take away from citizens that use this.
Oh, no, I don't want to take the service away. I want to make sure that it's still provided. Just changing the format.
Well, no, you said we want to, a county can opt out of putting this voters list in the newspaper, right?
In the newspaper, not on the internet. It will still have to be published.
But we got people that we all agree, this whole committee can agree that they don't have broadband. They don't have access to internet. I got a 75-year-old stepfather who look at this list to the same reason to make sure his certain people make sure you on that list to go vote. So if we're providing a service, I'm not about saving money, but I think that in this country, in this state, in this county, we should always encourage people to vote and use a service to make sure we're legitimate to do everything that we're supposed to do. So why we want to take a service away, just put it on one aspect, because a lot of people don't have access. Matter of fact, we spending, you know this, we spending millions of dollars for broadband access, which a lot of people don't have in not just rural, but we having problems in the city, in Montgomery, in Birmingham. So my thing is, a lot of people use this. If you look at the data, you're talking about in some counties, only 2% have access to broadband.
Right.
And they rely on this newspaper. And you got some people even younger than that who just want to look at the paper to look at it. They're not going to go on the website. Sometimes I hear this all the time. I don't want to go to the website. I get too confused on it. It's just too much stuff. I can't find a tab to find my name on the list or not. It'll cause a lot of problems. It's almost discouraging, and that's why I urge this committee to maintain what we do have, because it works. It's a way that we can use, or people can use, our citizens in the state of Alabama. This is everybody. Majority of the people in your county, I promise you, they look at that paper. I'm not gonna guarantee it like you did.
Okay.
But I really believe, I have faith in that they use that newspaper to find if their name on that list, or if their brother on that list, or somebody in their family's on that list.
And we want to that's why it is important we still publish the list. But I think putting it online would be cheaper, and I think it would be faster and easier, honestly. And you could check every county in Alabama, not just your own. I mean, right now, if you don't subscribe to the paper, you would have to drive to somewhere in downtown Tuscumbia that sells it, put 50 cents in the machine, pull one out, and then go read it. It'd be a lot easier just to go online.
But some people like to do that. A lot of people like to do that.
Sure.
They'd rather go pay the 50 cents to get their cup of coffee, sit down and drink, and look and see if their name on that list.
Yeah, and to your point about broadband, you're absolutely right, and that is why I put the opt-out provision in the bill for any county commission. And I think if only 2% of your people in your county had it, I think the county commission would obviously opt out of the system.
Vice Chair Allen, you had a comment or question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there anything now that prohibits the Secretary of State's office from putting it up there now?
That prohibits it? Mm-hmm. Well, there's not a website yet. Or the infrastructure for this isn't built out yet, so that would be prohibitive. But there's nothing in the law that prohibits it.
So he couldn't put it on the current website that we have now?
My understanding from Secretary Merrill was that this would require additional programming to make this happen.
Okay.
Yes, Representative Pascal.
Okay. Representative Terrell, I just want to follow what Representative Allen as far as the website. Well, first I just want to say we definitely want to always seek ways to reduce costs.
Sure.
And I think if you just put a one sentence, okay, here's the intent, I think so, yes, we definitely want to shift to that direction. The challenge is saying it's now the right time or when it's the right time. So with that, I just wanted to say I definitely think we eventually have to shift move in that direction. The challenge is when. So going back to the website, is there anything that, what were your thoughts on, we create a bill where the Secretary of State do exactly what you're saying, create the website, get it up and running, and then look at when is the right time to shift to this instead of doing it at the same time. That's just a thought. Then also, yesterday I had the opportunity to talk to our commissioners because it involves them. The last couple, 2017 Shelby County, the commissioners paid $8,500. The next series of print allocated funds was $10,500 for the print. We're a pretty large county, about 250,000, 225,000 people. So yes, there would be a cost saving to our county. However, if this passed, our commission, they probably would opt out. Because we do have those sectors of our county that do not have access. So that is good to have that opt-out in there, that clause. But one thing I noticed in, I think it's section 4, it talks about, it gives the commission the discretion if they don't think it's sufficient. So I guess it's saying, giving the commission that broad discretion, any way we can kind of give them a little more guidance, direction. And I know we don't want to get too involved in our local government, let them make those decisions, but just say for some reason that 2% in that county don't opt out, that 2% have access to the internet, but that commission has the discretion to still say we're not going to opt out. So what are your thoughts on that?
I follow your question. You're worried that a county commission might say, well, hey, our county doesn't have enough, but we're going to do it anyway. We're not going to opt out anyway. I'd be open to an amendment to that on the floor if that's something you wanted to talk to me about. If you wanted to put a percentage number in there of access to broadband, then they can't opt in or something like that. I'd be open to that. I think that's a reasonable request. I tried to leave it broad because I was trying to not make the decision for the local, county commissions. I was trusting them to make the right decision for their voters.
Right. Okay. Thanks.
Are there any other questions or comments from the committee? Did you have another one?
One last comment, Mr. Chairman and Representative. We've talked about broadband, but that's not the only issue. There is still, like it or not, whether we like it or not, there's still a digital divide in this nation. I mean, I know people who don't own a computer or a smartphone. I mean, there actually are people in this state, in this country, who don't have devices. So it's not just a matter of broadband. It's also, a question of whether people have access to devices to go online to check. Yes. Granted, most people, no, I don't know that. Let me take that back. I'm committing the crime myself here. Many people do not. Many people do, but many people do not have computers and
Yes.
Tablets and smartphones where they have access to look up that type of information.
And that's one of the reasons I was trying to leave the language somewhat vague to allow the county commission for any reason to opt out. Maybe it's lack of access to broadband. Maybe it's their voters don't don't own computers. For whatever reason, I was going to allow the county commissions to opt them out. So I think that is a fair point.
Yes.
My last comment. Now, my only issue with even leaving to the county commissions is that's the fact that when you enticing them when you say we're going to save $20,000 or $15,000, and they'll say, well, let's cut it off, but it still hurts so many people, even if they make the decision to opt out. Because I'm not sure, but some of the county commissions are going to they're going to look at the bottom line and say, well, yeah, we're going to save money, let's cut it out. But the citizens are upset, and it's starting right here on this bill, and I just think that. It's just like, again, it's just going to cause a lot of problems. And, we're just taking the service away from the citizens. I
understand your point. I actually have a lot of faith in our county commissioners, and I think they'd probably make the right decision. They're a lot closer to the voters even than we are, I think. And I think that they'd probably make the right decision in each individual county. And Representative Clark, to your point, I think there's a lot of people that I know, a lot of young voters, that have never in their life bought a newspaper. So there's people on both ends.
I agree with you.
Any other comments? Do we have a motion on the bill? We're looking at House Bill 131. Anyone? You make a motion to give it a favorable report from Representative Sandiford. Do I have a second?
Okay. I'll second.
Second. Okay. Representative Pascal. All right. All those in favor of the bill, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay.
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 The nays have it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. of the
Thank
committee.
you. Our next bill up is by Representative Robbins, and it's House Bill 225, deals with military voting.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee. This bill is rather simple. It brings Alabama in line with the federal statute regarding UOCAVA voting, and that's for uniformed officers voting overseas. So it brings us in line with the federal statute says that we no longer have to have 2 witnesses or a notary on absentee ballots for overseas active duty military and their spouses. Are there any questions from the committee?
All right, committee, do you have any comments or questions on this bill?
Good. I'll move for a favorable report.
All right, Representative Pascal moves for a favorable report for the bill. Do I have a second for that? Second, Representative Sandiford. No comments, no questions. We'll call for the vote then. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. No. All right, the ayes have it, and the bill is given a favorable report. Representative Robbins.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, committee.
All right, our next bill that's up on our agenda today is House Bill 342, Representative Mooney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. You just received a copy of an amendment to SB, which is the companion bill to 342. We passed 46 out with an amendment. You've also received the same amendment for HB 342 to make it the same. This bill does not affect state funding, and it prohibits the use of electronic voting counting systems that are capable of connecting to the internet or cell phone networks or possess any kind of modem technology. I think you all remember the discussion. I'd answer questions if you have them, but I hope we can just simply move forward and get our House version out to go along with the Senate.
All right, this is the House version that goes along with Senate Bill 46, and we've already passed the Senate bill through here.
Yes, sir.
The first thing, unless there are any questions, and you may want to have questions, which I'm not trying to cut off, but second, all those in favor of adopting the amendment, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The bill stands amended. All right, back to the body of the bill. Representative Mooney, anything else you want to say?
Have a
Move for
question.
favorable report
Thank you.
as
All right,
amended.
a motion to give it a favorable report as amended, seconded by Representative Pascal.
Question.
You have a question?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Mooney, I think I'm in favor of this bill. Are we being proactive or reactive here?
I'm sorry. I'm not being ugly. I just couldn't understand you, ma'am.
Certainly. Are we being, I can hear myself better now too. Are we being proactive or reactive with this bill?
This version, we just weren't as fast as the Senate getting ours out.
But I mean, what's the rationale for the bill?
Rationale is because
Are we being
we have so
proactive or
many
reactive?
people- We have so many people who are questioning security and all of that. This clearly defines and says, we do not have anything in Alabama, nor are we going to have anything in Alabama that would connect where there could be any questions about internet activities. It is assuring the people of our state that we are clearly using our correct systems in Alabama the way they are, and nobody can mess with them from the outside. I guess that's the common version, paraphrase of the legalese of the bill. So, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
It's just simply making it very clear where we are, and that amendment is very, very specific in its language to say that has no capability by which a remote device can connect to the electronic voting system by technology, Wi-Fi, internet, Bluetooth, near-field communication, or any other technology that could provide for remote connectivity. This provides clear, sure certainty for the people of our state that we can't have our stuff tampered with.
Thank you.
Our equipment tampered with.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chairman.
you, ma'am.
Are there any other questions? We have a motion on the floor and a second.
I'm ready for the question.
I think we had a second, didn't we? Yeah, Representative Pascal seconded, right? Okay, motion and a second to adopt. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Okay, Representative Mooney.
Thank you.
House Bill 343.
House Bill 343 is the companion to Senate Bill 47 that we passed previously. It is the complete exact companion, and of course this basically requires that we have a paper ballot that we can go to after having checked. Say hit one spot and blew a bunch of machines up or something, we would have stored and safe as well paper ballots. So it's just giving a double check on the process of clearly being able to recount an election if it needed to be recounted, or to do anything that needs to be done to give assurance to the people of our state a clear, fair, and safe election.
A full and accurate recount, basically.
Yes, sir.
Representative Pascal.
So this is basically codifying what we're doing already.
I'm sorry, Kenneth, I apologize.
And what we're doing already.
It is basically doing that. We do this, but this is making it clear that it's being done everywhere in the state.
Okay.
So that every county is doing the same thing all over the state.
All right. Mr. Chairman, I move for a favorable report.
Second.
Okay. A motion for a favorable report and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the bill's given a favorable report. All right, the last bill on our agenda today is House Bill 356, and it's also being carried by Representative Mooney. Representative Mooney, would you explain this?
Thank you. This is an extremely simple bill in the fact of making clear what is 30 feet. Our current, under existing law, no person may campaign within 30 feet of the door of the building or polling place. This bill just clarifies the point from which you measure the 30 feet. It's that simple, so that there's no confusion, and it simply says that, excuse me, for purposes of this section, 30 feet shall be measured from the exterior door or doors of the building in which voting machines are located and which voters are allowed to use as the ingress and egress to the voting area. That way it's...
So basically what we're saying here is the entrance door is where the measuring
wherever
begins.
You're going to vote it. When you
Despite the fact there may be a door inside the building where...
It's not a door inside.
We're not measuring from there, but the exterior door. All right.
That's it. Yes, sir.
And this is similar to the bill that Representative Drake carried. Was it
Yes,
last
sir.
time or time?
Maybe a little
It
bit
was
less
last year,
words.
wasn't it?
I don't
Okay.
know, but very close.
Are there any other
trying to make it
questions or
clear and
comments about the bill or anything the committee would like to ask?
Make a motion for favorable report.
A motion for a favorable report by Representative Allen.
I second.
Second by Representative Sanderford. Nothing else. If there's nothing else, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The bill is given a favorable report. Thank you, Representative Moon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee members. I hope you all have a good day.
Okay. Motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you all for being here today. We appreciate you. Well, we got through it. We probably won't have many more meetings this year. Good. That's all right. Let's see what comes down out of the Senate. Sometimes